Okay, thank you.
Okay, so like I said, I've introduced myself already. So that's my Twitter account. That's my role, and I'm chair and professor. But I'll talk more about myself. But I think in the next, I would try to. There are a lot of things to do in leadership, really, but I can't do that in 20 minutes for many of us, of course. But what I really want us to do in the next few minutes is to learn about leadership itself. And also, for me, I always tell people it's about your own potential as a business person. How can you be a better leader? And those are the key things I really want us to discover and talk about today. I'm a very engaging person, so I'm not uh, I'm not afraid to put you on the spot. So sorry for that. Maybe I might say, "Oh, Maury, what do you think? Oh, Clive, what do you think?" But I think it's a way for us to get to know each other. Oh, Peter or Shegun, what do you think? So please feel free to engage because that's the only way we can get it more interactive. And I'm happy when Ayo said most of the things you say here would always be within the room, so it makes it easier for us. So I'll provide a background of myself and all that. So that's me in a nutshell. I took this picture after the pandemic. I used to have a very big beard then. So I thought, okay, let me just take this picture because, of course, we knew everybody was locked in. But I used to be a pharmacist. So to be fair, so Peter, we have this pharmaceutical background. So I used to be a pharmacist, practiced pharmacy many years. Then people used to tell me, "Oh, Christian, why did you leave pharmacy? What happened? Why did you go into academia?" I always tell them I didn't like money too much. I didn't like gold. So I decided to run and decided to go into academia. So of course, I practiced pharmacy, left pharmacy, did my master's PhD in leadership. And of course, I've been a professor, did a lot of supervisions. So I did a lot of PhD supervisions. So a lot of my students have become senior lecturers, and the typical academic work I've been doing over the years. But one of the things I like about myself, and I'm so happy that most of you are authors. Of course, as an academic, I'm an author as well. They always say if you want to reach out to more people, then write a book. So I've written a couple of books on leadership and also beyond leadership on other things like African studies and all that. And I'm a humanitarian as well. I run an NGO on leadership. So it's called the Leadership Mode International, where I believe that you need to raise the next generation of leaders. Because if you want to support leadership, then you need to support the younger ones. So that's what I do in a nutshell, beyond what I've said. But of course, I'm the director of the Center for Leadership and Empowerment. And one of the things that we do is that we support leadership development. We do a lot of workshops on leadership. So we help with the leadership capabilities in Manchester. So I'm really, really keen on collaborating with people that are here and seeing how we can support your business in leadership as well. So, but what do we know about leadership? I think that is it. I always say that leadership, it's a characteristic of all organized human groups. So it's something that we always see. When you Google leadership, everybody's talking about, 5 nuggets of leadership. Like I wrote what they call it. I wrote an article in the media a couple of years ago. The skills you need to be a leader, or what you need to do in the time of change. Everybody writes about leadership. Leadership is so important, isn't it? But even beyond the human group, we also have leaders in the animal kingdom. We have a leader, isn't it? So who's the leader of the animal kingdom? Anybody can tell me who's the leader of the animal kingdom?
Lion.
Huh? Lion. Oh, Ayo is saying the lion. Are you sure? Ayo, have you watched a lot of Lion King? Are you a Disney fan? Is it because of the Lion King? Isn't it? Okay, okay. Who else? Do we all agree with Ayo? Is the lion the leader of the animal kingdom, or do we have any contrary view?
I think that's what it is. It's a lion.
Okay.
Plankton.
Yep. Peter, what do you say? Is it the lion?
Plankton.
The python. Oh wow! Why the python?
No. Plankton.
Oh, the python. Why?
No, plankton. Sorry.
The plankton. Okay, plankton. Why? Okay, why? That's interesting. Why the plankton?
It's the top of the food chain.
It's about the food chain. That's good. You know, the funny part about this is every time I ask this question, many people come up with different answers. Of course, the common one is the lion. Some people, this is the first time I'm hearing the plankton, so this is good. I'm happy to hear something different. Some people say that the elephant. Somebody told me the ant at one point. But either way, the common answer is usually lion. And it's not because the lion is the strongest, but because the lion is the one that's able to survive most during the times of change. And in every sphere of life, especially in businesses, we have seen what has happened in the pandemic. We have seen what has happened in the world today. Change is a constant thing. Heraclitus says that the only constant thing in the world is change. Personally, I always say that the only constant thing in the world is leadership. You need leaders that can lead during the times of change. And that's why you're all here. That's why you're trying to develop that network. But either way, beyond the animal kingdom, we have leaders in the military, leaders in religion, leaders in education, and leaders in businesses. Many of you are CEOs, some of you are COOs, you all lead your business. And you can see that in leadership, it's so important in every sphere of life. But although leadership is the most observed, yet is the least understood phenomenon on earth. We talk about leadership. We speak about leadership, but you see that we don't do leadership. You just need to look at what's happening in the world, in the political landscape. You will see that we struggle with leaders. In businesses, the same thing. We struggle. We talk about it, just a collection of dependable empirical nuggets, really. But we don't understand what leadership is. And that is why we need to be great leaders, especially for our businesses. But the next thing, and I always ask everybody this question. I know you're running your business, and I know for some of you, a job interview has been something that you didn't do in a very long time. But let's go back to your early years. If I ask you to name someone who you regard to be an effective leader, who would you name? Just one person in your life, really, that you regard to be an effective leader. Who will you name? Who will you mention as that person?
My mom.
Your mom? I can't see the person. Who said my mom?
Majid.
Or who said my mom?
No, it's Majid.
Majid. Okay, your mom. Why your mom?
She provided leadership. My father was a very busy person, and my mom was there to provide the leadership that didn't make us miss my father too much. So yeah.
Okay, I think some people are on the chat are saying I agree. My mom. Okay, good. I'm so happy because I'm always actually in my center for leadership and empowerment. I always say that it's so important because women have to break the glass ceiling or shatter it. So when people are saying that their moms are their leaders, then it's something that we really want to push, and that's great. Other leaders apart from our mothers, who else we consider
Abraham
to be
Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln? Okay, why Abraham Lincoln?
He was a man of conviction, and it's not about his selfish end. It's not about his selfish goals. It's a man that is concerned about everyone. And for me, the fact that he, against all opposition, fought for abolition of slavery, it's really very important to me. And I've read a bit about him. He has a sense of humor. He knows how to bring people along. You know, he recruits his enemies to be part of his government and all of that. So for me, and for what he actually achieved, he didn't actually live to see the end, but for what he achieved and his intention, for me, I think he's one of the most effective leaders.
Abraham Lincoln. No, I totally agree with you, Ayo. Of course, there's no wrong answer, but Abraham Lincoln, as we already know, who was a past president of America, and people know Abraham Lincoln for different things, even beyond what you've said. He was a very, of course, very charismatic character, was able to shape the political landscape of the America. So well done. I can see Deborah said Bob Marley. Maury said me. Peter is raising up his hand.
I'm going to say Richard Branson. I'm going to switch to Prince for the same reason that you mentioned Abraham Lincoln. That Prince is a team leader like Richard Branson. He's not obsessed with his own ego. He's swapped members of his band around, and when he has someone who's a star at the front of the stage, he stands at the back. Whereas some leaders in music, only they're surrounded by their ego. So actually, good team leadership is a great feature of people like him and Abraham Lincoln, and Branson is another one. And if you compared Branson with Trump, or Prince with Trump at a dinner table, there would be no comparison, because as AO said, many people are only really possessed by themselves, whereas I think those examples are good examples of people who breed more leaders.
Hey, good, Peter. I'm happy with that. Very good examples, of course, from what you've all said clearly. And of course, when we look at the likes of Prince, we look at the likes of Richard Branson, so you can see, and what I'm happy about is most of the time in leadership is not, I always say leadership is not about me, but it's about we. It's about getting people to work with you, a team builder. So when a leader thinks that he or she can do it, him or herself, then that's a problem. So you need to carry people along. And it's great that that is one of the reasons why you think those two examples are great leaders. We have the likes of Mandela. I think Annette, Alex is saying that. And Clive said, my butcher. Wow, that is also good. It's good to see those kind of examples as well. Then Marshall is raising up his hand. Marshall?
Yeah, no, thanks for the previous speakers that spoke about the mothers. I think where I'm from Cape Town, and I don't know if you're familiar with a place called Mitchell's Plain. So in Mitchell's Plain, I grew up with a single parent. And for my upbringing, I think my mother stood out as a leader because not that the fact that she was running a house, but also raising kids on her own, standing firm, you know, and having to have faced through the battles that we were facing in apartheid, unequal sharing of opportunities. My mother still made ends meet. So today I'm sitting here sharing my story with you guys, and it was all made possible by my leader, my mother. And that's why she's behind me. That's my mother. Thanks.
Hey, good. I think we're running out of time. Like I see, Ayo is smiling. Okay, so Omalayo, Omalayo, you want to say anything? Yeah.
Thank you. Just a quick one. I'm going to go with my dad.
Okay,
It's completely the opposite for me. My dad stood out for everything. It's actually in my book. Actually, I dedicated my book to my dad. He was just the one that did everything. I just need to say that.
Oh, good. I'm happy to hear the dads. The dads in the house should be happier as well, not just the moms, isn't it? We need dads also to stand up for leadership. But it's great, and I'm happy with all these examples. Very nice examples, and unfortunately, we don't have so much time, so I would try to go as fast as possible. These are examples of many of the leaders. I won't want to start going one after the other. Some of you know them, but of course, one of you mentioned Richard Branson as well. So, and some of you mentioned Mandela. So these are the kind of examples that people tend to give over time. Of course, we don't have so much time, so I will not want to go deep into some of these examples. But I'm tempted to look at Hitler. Some of you is like, oh, why is Hitler here? Don't worry, many people still think Hitler is. That's why I asked you. I asked you about effective leadership. I didn't ask you about good leadership, because sometimes people don't know. Good is very subjective, isn't it? What is good to me, it might not be good to you. But either way, that's another conversation that we don't have so much time to have. But now, why do you think I asked you for an example of an effective leader? Why do you think I asked you that question? Apart from the fact that I like to put you on the spot, to be fair, why do you think I asked you for that?
You can see somebody that's proven to, there's evidence there, because obviously they've got a track record.
Okay, good. Any other person? Why do you think I asked you about this?
To make sure we are listening to you.
To make sure I'm listening to me. I agree. That's one reason. Why do you think I asked you? Okay, Martin,
perhaps
be a role model.
Okay.
Role model. Okay,
Clive, are you speaking?
Me or you, Clive?
No,
that's two Clives.
Clive Lindsay.
Yeah, I think he heard me.
Okay.
Okay.
I wanted to say.
Okay.
I think we probably will be putting up our hands now.
Yes.
So I'm happy. I like when it's interaction. When people are interrupting themselves, to me, it's good news in that sense. So please keep doing it. So who wants to interject then?
I think to just hear different opinion, different perspective, and who others see as a leader compared to your own opinion.
Plus, everybody has their own style of leadership. So it's important to see the different styles, different industries, and there's just not one style that's effective.
Okay, good. And the last person, Clive.
Yeah, thanks. I suppose you asked the question because it's what we view as leadership. Because some people that are leading companies, let's pick on companies for now, aren't necessarily strong leaders. They're more managers or bosses than a leader. So I guess it's how we view leadership, defining it. Yeah.
Clive just hit the nail on the head. Most of the time, the way you view leadership would determine the kind of examples you give. The examples of the leader you give determines the way you view leadership. We don't have so much time, so I won't tell us to define leadership. But the truth is, most of the time, if you view leadership as being somebody that is meant to serve other people, then people like Mandela will come to mind. If you view leadership as somebody that is meant to recognize opportunities, take risk, examples like Richard Branson will come to mind. The way you view leadership and the way you think leadership should be will determine the kind of examples you give as a leader. And that is why we can't do so much about the way we view leadership. But it's great in that sense. But I'm happy that we have all come with that. But I'm just mindful of the fact that we just have a few minutes. But either way, so there are different definitions of a leader. But my definition, and I always say leadership is influence. If you want to be a great business leader, then you need to be able to influence others. Because at the end, you have to influence people in order for you to be successful, because at the end, it's a team sport. You need to be able to influence others. And in doing that, you need to have the skill set. There are skills effective leaders should have. And can anybody just tell us a couple of skills you think has been important for you in running your business? Anybody? What are the skills that you think?
Teamwork.
Teamwork, okay. What else?
Communication.
Effective communication. Effective communication, what else?
Listening skill.
Listening, okay. Good.
Making
What
hard
else?
decisions. Making hard decisions.
Making hard decisions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unpopular
What else?
decisions. Yeah.
Selling.
Setting good
Unpopular
examples.
Setting good examples, okay.
Empathy.
Empathy, good, okay.
Good. Leaders have to create the conditions where they make people believe the sun will shine the following day.
I like that. You have to make the condition where people believe you, isn't it? You have to tell them the story. You have to be able to motivate and influence them.
And those
Developing another leaders.
Developing other leaders, okay. What else?
Treating others like you expect to be treated yourself. I think that's key with my management.
Okay.
Yeah.
Treat people the way you expect to be treated. Good.
and
I've
those-
got one, but
Honesty.
Honesty.
It's very important.
Honesty, very important. Okay.
I'll follow that.
Authenticity.
To be a leader is to be a servant.
To be a leader is to be a servant. Serve other people. Authenticity as well. Being
Can I-
authentic, being genuine. Okay.
Can I say something on that? I
Okay.
think servant has to be appropriate to context. Sometimes if you're too much of a servant to your team or to people, you never show any type of get any sort of respect. You sometimes don't get that influence. So it's about appropriation of being a servant and being able to lead and take on accountability when needed. Because sometimes that's why you are the leader of your company, because the buck stops with you. So there's time to be a servant, but there's a time to take the reins and say, look, this is my decision, my vision, and I'm taking ownership of it, and this is how we're going to do it. So that's what I want to say.
No, I'm happy. What I like about it is I like the arguments, I like the critiques, because we're always saying leadership, one size does not fit all. So you need to be able to adapt your leadership approach depending on the context and depending on the situation. Those things are important. But I know I have a few minutes, unfortunately. So, but these are, of course, based on my years of research and my frameworks as well. This is one of the frameworks that I produced like 5 years ago. And these are the skills you need for leadership. Many of the things that you have all said are there. Empathy, you need to think about other people. Communication is important. Motivating people, I like what one of you said, get people to believe that they can do other things. Because that's extraordinary influence. Building a team, managing your people, also managing yourself, because you can't manage people if you don't understand yourself. Being analytical, generating strong ideas, solving problems. You need to be a problem solver. You need to have a vision as well. People will not follow you if you don't have a vision. But of course, if you don't have a vision, if you have a vision and you don't know how to plan, you only be a daydreamer. So you need to plan. Make strong decisions and effective decisions, even when they're not the best decisions that people want to hear. Technical expertise in your field is important. You need to know what you do. Business, and that's why you're having this market, the master network. Business is very important. Entrepreneurial skills, identifying opportunities, exploiting them, and managing risk. These are very important skill sets that you need for leadership. But what I always tell people, and this is where we don't have so much time, you need to be able to look at this skill set. And you need to ask yourself, which ones do I think I have? And which ones do I think I need within my context? Because that is the only way you can be an effective leader. You need to be truthful with yourself. You can't have all. If I'm struggling with empathy, what can I do to be more empathetic? If I'm struggling with my entrepreneurial ability, what do I need to do to be more entrepreneurial? If I'm struggling with my networking, then of course I'm in this network. So you need to be able to determine the skill sets that you need going forward. But I always tell people, leadership skill development is key. You need to do that. Mentoring is important. We always have formal and informal mentoring sessions. Training programs are important. Of course, many of you are involved in training and coaching. You know what I'm talking about. I run a lot of training and coaching workshops as well. So most of these things that you need to support you with that. But I always feel that leadership is a personal journey. Read books, watch programs on leadership. Those things will help you. But finally, and most importantly, I always tell people, practice leadership. Don't be afraid to be a leader. If you want to be more empathetic, then start becoming empathetic. If you want to know how to manage risk, start doing it. If you want to know how to communicate, start communicating. Don't be afraid to fail. Failing is not bad. Learn to fail forward. Because at the end, as a leader, you need to be practicing this. So as a business leader, one of the things about business is don't be risk averse. I'm not saying that you should always take risks, but of course, take calculated risk. These are the kind of things you need to do. So in conclusion, I would ask you two questions. Does it matter how an individual behaves? What do you think? Yes or no, as a leader?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do I need to develop my leadership skills as a leader?
Yes.
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 Mhm.
Yes and yes.
So thank you very much. And please feel free to ask me any questions. I know I don't want to interrupt. I know you still have some minutes to go. So feel free to ask me any questions. But that's me. And I put my contacts on the chat. So please, let's keep networking going on. That's my email. That's my Twitter account. That's my LinkedIn as well. So let's connect on this platform. So thank you very much.